Notifications. We're going to give a few seconds for the other people to get in here. Hello, hello, hello. It is me. It is Nyx. I am cleansing the place. I've got some Palo Santo sticks. Smoking out the place, kind of smudging it out because I was outside and today was a beautiful, beautiful day. But today was a Maryland day, of course. So for those who are very familiar with Adderall, that is the one of those medications, those trial medications that came out a few years back. I don't know how far back it did, but it was supposed to help with focus or whatever that is. So Big Pharma is our host today. I don't know why. I just say what has to come out, right? So Big Pharma is a big old host today. Um some of the reasons why I guess I'm saying Big Pharma is because I'm noticing that with long-term situations, I mean, life, it has its damage already as it is, but then you come in, you start to get ailments, you start to take these medications, and you don't know that they pull on other things in your body. So definitely be aware and definitely take a gander at those lists that they give you when you go to the pharmacy. When they give you your medication, it might be something good for you to look at it and see. And remember, when you start taking these things, your body, your physiology of your body, it starts to change because it's starting to realize that the body is getting an outside source, so the body no longer has to make some of those chemicals itself. Your body makes just about every chemical in the amount that it naturally needs. Okay, so as you get older, those things change. But the things they don't tell you about the medicine, even though some of the medicines do help you out and give you a little alley oop, some of those medicines put you in a worse place. So be mindful of the parts in the label that says that this medicine may affect your immune system. Pay attention to direct sunlight warnings, direct sunlight on your skin as far as your eyes and that sort of thing, long-term usage, things that you shouldn't do within an hour or 4 hours of taking the medication before or after. Those are things that you might need to pay attention to because you might be doing yourself a disservice. Why take the medicine if you're not going to actually educate yourself on what it does and what it's for, right? And some of us have unfortunately been misdiagnosed. You see, this is the thing. You have to be very careful when you're surrounded by people who are willing to lie. You have to be very, very careful. And some of us haven't even known that we were surrounded by liars. Some of us are just finding out that the very liar that we have been surrounded by is the same person who's supposed to love, care, and cherish for us. No, I'm not talking about our spouses, which they have a choice on whether or not they're going to do it, but we also have a choice on whether or not we're going to stay. I'm talking about family. I'm talking about moms, dads, aunts, uncles. Those are the people who are supposed to be there. Those are the people that you're assigned to in the universe. However, they can cloak themselves in such a way that they're supposed to be in your life, but they're not supposed to be in your life, especially if they pose a danger. If you have someone that has mouth diarrhea, they can exactly pose a danger. It may be intentional or unintentional, but say they speak about you in a bad way all the time. See, those whispers carry. So even if you didn't have the 100% bad intention, someone else that hears this might take that as a cue and run with it, okay? So that's where we may be. And some people are just downright rotten. They've never wanted to see you have anything because they saw your blessing as their lesson. So they decided to teach you not to be who you were supposed to be. And they decided that they wouldn't help you either. And they also decided they wouldn't leave you alone either. And that to me is creepy. That is stalking 101. And the people who can really stalk you undercover are the people that are your family. And it gets a bit weird when your family feels more entitled to using you than helping you or doing anything to you or for you. You understand? Like they won't give you anything, but they're always at your door and they're always having their hand out and they always want to call your name. But they don't come through. And I really don't like the ones who always have your name in their mouth and they're like, "Hey, I know so and so, so you should give me, or I can get a discount, or I know so and so, so you should let me in." A lot of times they just know that person. They don't be with that person. They don't rock with that person, and that person doesn't rock with them. So just be careful of people using your name for clickbait, because this is what people do nowadays. They just go around you, hang around you, and then they show up at your family's cookout like cousin, just because they know a few common details. And it's easily to get that common detail when you've got a bunch of people running their mouths. So here we are. I've totally smudged the place. Here we are. Wabash. I think there's a Wabash a little bit of everywhere. There's a Wabash Avenue. There's a Wabash Apartments. There's a Wabash. There's a business incorporated with Wabash that has a lot to do with Wabash. There's a Wabash somewhere else as well. All right, so that's that part. This is fish. Fish. When I say fish, I also mean Pisces. Whoever coached you never told you the possibilities of going down with this ship. So someone's definitely on a Titanic. Remember, they were floating away. The lady was floating away in a door. She did not let Leonardo DiCaprio on the door. Okay, so that was a portal. A door is a portal. And they went down with the ship. They said the band was playing as the ship went down. The reason why they were playing was because they was instructed to continue until they all drowned. Okay, so someone is drowning as they go down with the ship. They might not be drowning physically, but they're definitely drowning emotionally. They're drowning in emotions. And as I mentioned, the Pisces in the beginning, that is a very intuitive sign. So even if a person is trying to use their gifts to predict the future, they don't like what they see. They don't like what they see coming down the road, okay? They're not liking that. And I said that was Pisces. Yep, moon. Yep, it was night. Yep, the door is the portal. Yep, there we go. Titanic going down with the ship. Be careful of your relationships, your ship, any ship you need to get on, because water, hey, somebody will push you overboard. Overboard. Too much emotion can definitely put you overboard. All right, boss, the plane, the plane, the plane, boss, the plane. All right, here we go. So we've got Midhaven or Midheaven, right? I say Midhaven. I usually say Midhaven is because a lot of people get midway and they get complacent and they start staying there, and they call it a haven because they don't want to come out on the other side, because the other side might mean success, and success might mean consistency. They might actually have to consistently keep this thing up. And some people are very afraid of it, so they kind of hang around complacent in one space. They don't need to go too far, because if they go too far, you might see them uncomfortable. And a lot of people don't like to be seen uncomfortable, even if it's for their good. They don't like to be seen floundering. They like to hit the road looking comfortable already, but there's no growth in that. So indeed, they've reached the climax of where they plan on going. They just didn't reach the climax of where they hope to be. All right, so this is my Midhaven message, and it's usually called Midheaven. It's usually called Midheaven when you have higher aspirations and you actually plan on getting there. You might be a little slower coming out of the out of the comfort zone, but you are indeed approaching it. So you do have forward movement. It may be slow, it may be fast. However, it is forward movement. Remember, slow and steady wins the race. And turtles aren't really that slow. Depends on the turtle, really. Okay, so there we go. Let's do this Midhaven so we can get out of here, because I'm waiting for the little one. Someone is hiding a lavender marriage. Not just the deets of the condition, but the mere fact that it was accepted at all. Somebody doesn't like what they settled for. So in attempts to hide what they settled for, they kind of put on acts of grandeurs, and they just like to put on a show. They like to stunt because they don't really want people to pay attention to the fact that they did settle in life. So they make everybody else jump through hoops, because if you are not jumping through a hoop, you might realize that they did settle for the bare minimum. They did settle for a breadcrumb. All right. So someone's spiritual credit is below 300 and the earthly credit may be worse. This is why the voodoo and the manipulation. And this is what I'm saying. Someone is morally corrupt, bankrupt, or whatever, because they keep putting their hands in this magic, this gossip, this smoke and mirrors, this manipulation, and they do not have any idea how worse the FICO score is about to get in the spiritual realm, especially if they keep doing it. To keep relentlessly going after someone's character is Definitely. It's cuckoo, cuckoo. Anyway, someone is upset that everything people said about them came true, even though they fought hard tooth and nail to conceal this. And this is the reason for this person's internal pain. This person may not have cancer, but whatever's happening on the inside of them is eating them up the same way. All right. Someone, I'm sorry, I didn't write that down, but it just popped up in my head. Someone with big pink lips. They're using their mouth as a weapon. And I'm not talking about the words that's coming out of it. Any woman that they see, any man around that they think that they want, they start offering oral offers. And no, the guys don't say no. It's just that they get a bit upset when the guys don't say, let's go out. They do that type of stuff behind the scenes and only with you. You're just a friend. Oh, baby, you ain't got what they need. They just say you is a friend and that shit won't never end. So stop trying to be the throat goat. Keep your throat clear. All right. All right. You won't win. Your body is not a battlefield, especially if they don't even want the body. They only want the neck. All right. That for someone. Someone doesn't know that their need to belong was ultimately their undoing. And this is what I've always said about groups, gangs, and cliques and things of that nature. It only works for a bit of time. When you grow up and you grow old, you realize that you do not want someone's right or wrong to affect your life. To be that close and that attached to another adult that you are not married or in a family with is a little bit stressful. No, it's a lot stressful, especially when you are connected to the person who is a liability. Okay? So, when you join into cliques and gangs, that is how people get birds of a feather rock together. Here's the thing. I used to hang with a bunch of B movies, not knowing I was already played and casted for an A movie. The problem is, as the movie kept going on, everybody kept getting recasted, and they got upset the closer I got to the A movie. And they realized that they weren't even prepared and hadn't even practiced for the B movie. So they immediately went over to the Sundance Films and became the green room people. And they didn't realize that they had demoted themselves by not just studying their lines. Instead, they tried to take my script, they tried to take my highlighter, they tried to break into my dressing room, they took my makeup, figuratively, of course. And all I'm saying is, you didn't have to, what is that? Who was it? Christine, whatever. You didn't have the Nancy Kerrigan me. I seen I was ready for the Olympics. If you were training for the Olympics too, you didn't have to send anyone to hit me in my damn leg, okay? By the way, Nancy Kerrigan still's beautiful and still's a great athlete. You know whose life went down the crapper? What was her name? Tanya Harding or whatever the hell her name was. She didn't have to do that. That wasn't good sportsmanship. And this is all I'm saying. Sometimes people really need to pay attention, not unless they actually have a loser in their heart, because only a loser in their heart would kind of agree to go in with a bunch of people who are just trying to take someone down and destroy their reputation just because they weren't able to build theirs up. Did it make you better? Did it make your kids cuter? Did it reduce the amount of baby daddies that you had? Did it make you cleaner? Did it give you a better car? Did it extend your gas tank? Did it give you more shoes to put on your stinky feet? Did it now? No, it didn't. You see, this is what we've been trying to tell you. There was no reward in what you were doing. However, you may get something. It's just not a reward. All right, so let's round this up with the last few points I got. Since someone was born, they have been used as a sacrificial lamb. That is us collective, that is part of it, of the family, and they are learning to restore their power. Well, it took me a time to restore my power because one, I didn't know that I had a family that didn't want me to have one. I didn't know I was surrounded by people who just wanted to be around me. I didn't know that the people who I called my friends and associates and the people who I attempted to help only wanted me to keep helping because they didn't want me to have it. It's not that they were going to work and go get it themselves. It's just that someone had told them that if they could just deplete me, that's all they had to do. They even took bribes and actually took incentives to deplete me in order to get certain things done. And I'm almost there to it. All right. So don't worry about it. But I got one more thing. Someone became a rat, either physically or theoretically, by way of their highest aspiration, but their lowest self is afraid of confrontation, and highest self has been starved by karmic intervention. So, someone who has actually been playing magic does not know that they are actually under the spell of magic. They have no idea why they're moving in such clandestine ways. It's because someone has already come in and put the word and the soothsaying into their ear, and they have no idea that they're not even moving of their own volition. They haven't caught themselves yet. Happy awakening if you do come across it. I bid you adieu. I was used as a honeypot as well. You see how that works. I was used as a honeypot. It's just the fact of the matter is I didn't know I was used as a honeypot because I wasn't even familiar with the term. I didn't know that my success and my characteristics were being dangled in other people's faces. I didn't know that somebody was going behind the scene and buffing up the files on me so that other people can go on and transfer it out and just carry the word through the wind. I did not know. But the crazy part is, so were you. You were used to lure me in, and I was used to lure you in. So we have to find out who the common denominator was who decided that I didn't need to have good things in my life and decided that you didn't need to be around great people. Because guess what? You look to the left and you look to the right and you realize that you were around a bunch of stinking liars. And it's okay because I realized that I looked around and I was around a bunch of stinking liars. How you doing? You're not alone. All right. So as we heal and return our power, go on and find out who's who and what's what and realize that, hey, we need to separate ourselves and really comb through and cut the grass, get the snakes out, and learn how to identify the different species, the garden snakes versus the vipers and the sand and the sidewinders. We used to have sidewinders in Pond Town. I remember running down the street because the plane was coming down so low. It looked like it would almost touch the ground, and we were running, but the airport was so close to where we were. I think there was a private grounds out there somewhere in Eastern Shore, but that's just something I always mention the things. If it comes into my head, I mention it because it's something for someone else. It might not be for me, but it was something else. All right. And yeah, so don't feel too bad, go to God. This has been your Midhaven message, and I hope it all is well. Remember, we did just round up April. That was the taxes. I did pull 1099 this morning. I don't know who that's for, but get your things together because they are looking to penalize some people. And I don't know. Somebody might be going bankrupt. All right, so this has been Nix with the Midhaven message. All right, don't forget to love you. And maybe you have room for somebody else. Don't come for me because somebody's spiraling you.